It's Retro Repair Roundup, episode number whatever this is, 95, I think.
Mhm.
Nice, quiet evening.
We're in the mid 90s.
Mid 90s. Yeah, mid 90s. Right around the perfect Macintosh period. Or maybe not. It's 95, that's kind of deep into the pain era. Anyway, hi, I'm Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. And to whichever side of me he's on your screen is Ron of Ron's Computer Videos.
Yeah.
It's a Retro Repair Roundup. Thank you, everybody, all 3 or 5 or 6 of you for stopping by tonight. It's pretty quiet. We didn't really announce it. I mean, it is technically on schedule, but yeah, here we are. Javier could make it tonight due to, I believe, a family thing, and Trina was a little tapped out from really getting into something earlier with one of her machines, so she is also out tonight as well. But that's okay, because we don't really have a guest either. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, we're just having fun tonight.
Doing a fun stream-a-doodle. I want to start by talking about the elephant in the room, Marcintosh.
Oh, sure.
It's here.
It is here.
It is here, like major. My social media today has been filled with nothing but Marcintosh posts and an occasional like news post that makes me want to like be sad and go over into the corner and play with my Macs more, and then more Marcintosh. So it's been really awesome. I think people really kicked it off this year. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, I think that we're off to a good start. Today is just the first day. People have been posting videos. People have been printing things to other people's printers. Generally speaking, folks have had a good time. My friend Joe sent me a printout earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've gotten several over the past, couple days. Ron sent me something that my Mac sorely needed. He sent me a RAM upgrade.
I know. That's good stuff.
And I got visited by the ghost of the non-dead John Scully, and just cool stuff. Fun stuff. Whoa! What happened? Ron, did a nuclear weapon go off in your basement? Like, what's going on?
I think that the exposure. Oh, something happened. Yeah, something happened with the exposure on my camera. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know what happened exactly.
And then white balance went weird. Anyway, okay, it's fine.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see, because I had a weird problem a second ago. Okay. Nope. Yeah. No, it was a exposure issue. That was weird. Exposure went crazy on my camera. So it appears to be fixed now.
Yay!
Yeah.
But yeah, Marcintosh has been really off to a great start. If you didn't catch the stream on all of our channels last night, you can go out and catch that. There's a lot more details about Marcintosh and what to do if you want to participate in Marcintosh this year. But it's really straightforward. You go to marcintosh.com or .org. Is it .com or .org?
It's .com.
It's .com. And you go there and you read about all the ways you can participate, and then you just do it. Do you have to have physical hardware? No, you can use an emulator. Does it have to be really old? No, we're supporting all the way up until the last Intel Macs as far as that goes. We're supporting more Macs than Apple does. So if you have an old piece of hardware you want to play with, or a relatively new piece of hardware, or an emulator, if you have some software, if you just want to like hang out and make artwork about Macs and Apples of that time period, if you just want to, I don't know, cross stitch a copy of the Macintosh Smiling Happy Macintosh, we don't care. Just do it, and then hashtag that and share that stuff so people know that you love these old computers. That's it. That's all you need to do to participate. It's really quite easy.
It's pretty simple. It's really just if you are so inclined, it doesn't matter. It's just about celebrating the hobby of it. And it might just be something as simple as if you're not a social media person, that's okay. If you're not somebody that makes YouTube videos, it's okay. It's you might be somebody that just reads a book. This might be the year that you go out to folklore.org and read some of Andy Hertzfeld's amazing stories about the early days of the Mac program at Apple and how the project changed and all that. So, that might be your speed. Just do a little reading, a little quiet reading. If you can pick up the paperback version of the book, it's got a lot of great pictures and stuff. But his website is and it's free.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Fun stuff. So get out there and do it.
Mhm.
Now, Ron, what's
Yes.
going on in your world, buddy? What's
Not a whole
what's happening in Ron land?
Not a whole lot. Actually, last year at this time, I was going crazy trying to get everything ready to go for the months, the whole month of things that were happening, and I bought a lot of stuff, and I just stressed myself out last year doing things, and maybe it was good because I did all the stressful stuff last year for like getting my printers online, or actually not just that, but if you remember last year, I pulled my image writer back out after having had it hooked up the previous year for the first year of Global Talk, and it smelled like uh like a fish market. So I did the recapping guide and all that. So I had my printer was down, and then I was like I had a laser printer all lined up. I got the laser printer. It had problems with the formatter, and it had problems with the DC controller, and so I found somebody locally that had the HP LaserJet 5, and I was able to track down a PostScript ROM, and I was able to track down the networking module. Anyway, it was a big deal last year of like collecting hardware and everything that I needed. Oh, also, I bought like 3 different bridges to bridge Local Talk to Ether Talk, and finally got one that works. And so last year it was like a mad scramble. Well, this year I just I took everything out and plugged it in and turned it on, and it just worked. So I was really surprised and really impressed.
All your sweat equity came to fruition, and now, not to spoil too many things, but maybe to give people some anticipation, you have something like 2 to 3 videos lined up for every week of March for Marcintosh. It is crazy, man. All of the stuff you're able to get to now because, hey, my crap just works.
Yeah, it's really nice that you can just work on things, or actually that I enough in advance. I went through and collected up everything that I wanted to try to get accomplished. I got a bunch of stuff in the can, videos recorded, interviews recorded, projects started, or at least have people lined up for things, collaboration things. And so, yeah, was able to get that all going. And so finally it's all now just paying off. So I can sit back, and I should have a video that goes out, at least I think it is. I have a video that goes out on Monday, or I'm sorry, no, sorry. I have a video that'll go out on Tuesday. I will have a video that goes out on Wednesday, and then I will have an interview or kind of a bigger video that'll be on Fridays. And then I'll have other stuff that'll be sprinkled in there too, that are like things that are just of a special interest, or collaboration stuff and all of that. So yeah, so there'll be you'll see a lot of my face. You will be sick of me. If you're not already, you'll be sick of all my stuff at the end of March. So, and I have a very special video that I've been working on for a very long time, collecting hardware and software and things like that. Unfortunately, though, the subject matter of it is something that's maybe a little more risque. So I'll actually be airing that in April. So it is something that is Mac related, but since we're trying to keep Marcintosh a very family friendly affair. Not that this thing that I'm working on is like, full frontal, anything crazy. It is just maybe something that is outside the scope of what would be family friendly. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So teaser on that.
To titillate your taste buds or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been awesome. Yeah, I've been preparing for Marcintosh too myself. For the most part, what I like to do to support Marcintosh in the community is just sit in the background and process orders, to be honest, because a lot of the things that are in the store are things that people use to keep their old Macs running. And if I can do that and support the community by just being the guy who makes the magic happen for them to actually do the magic, that's what I aim to do. So,
well, I will tell you, don't undercut it, because there's a lot of people that come in every year and are like, oh, I want to do this thing. And the problem that we've always had in the past is a source, like issue or sourcing things issue.
Mhm.
So it is very nice to have somebody that is event, as part of the coordination of the event, that had the $20,000 in December to put down to buy a bunch of these things that people will be like, invariably be like, oh yeah, I finally got my image writer, but I don't have the image scribbler card that Ian
Yeah.
Pulpo makes. So it's like, it's now I can get one of those things. Or somebody that's just like, oh, I didn't know about this event, but I want to do a little thing for my classroom or something, so I'll get a couple of Pico Micromax or something. So it's nice that that we have benefactors that underwrite the event through other things. So it may not be something that is like, oh, I made 19 videos or something, but it's, you did the logistics that made it where people could make the 19 videos. So that's important and it's appreciated.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it.
Yeah.
I have, though, done some regular classic, if you want to call it, Marchintoshing. Marchintosh, new verb. Joe invents new verb.
Is it
stunned.
Yeah.
So
is it anything like Martinizing? Because I'm still 40 years later, I'm still a little confused about what exactly Martinizing is.
Fun
Do
fact,
you have to be married to a woman named
company
Gina?
that invented that is just south of me, and I drive by their headquarters at least once a week. Anyway,
so it's still a thing. Wow,
it is still a thing. Anyway,
Okay.
so now I've done my two major things were, one is I got my Quadra 650, and I put Quadra in scare quotes because it's really a centrist that I hacked all the crap. I got that on Global Talk. So if you're a Global Talker and want to look for my zone, Joe's Computer Museum, it's out there. I have some files there. You can drop me greets, print to the laser writer up there and stuff like that. Just, so I'm out there and you can say, hi, Joe. I will be a couple times a day when memory allows, be jumping back out onto the Global Talk network there and leaving greets myself and printing to people's printers and stuff to say hi. Nice. The other thing is that I got the Pumpkintosh working.
Yeah.
Nice. It's always worked, but I've always wanted, how can I put it? Let me roll back. I like doing really crazy, wacky things to old machines to make them do things they were never really supposed to do. For example, I have the Quadra over here running a web server. So if you go to hititwithahammer.net, it's being served by this computer over here. And I did that last year with the SE30. But in this case, I have this thing, like I call it like double overclocked. I have Zigzag Joe's Booster 2.0 accelerator in it. So it's got an 030 with an FPU with or at 40 megahertz. So, super fast, or 40.
Yeah.
47, 40. It's more than 40. It's like fast. Mm-hmm. And then also there's a Synchro 30 card that goes in the PDS slot that is effectively a double data rate RAM. It because it's using newer, faster RAM, it clocks the RAM half as fast, or with double the clock speed. So there's less wait states by the CPU and all of that. So it I mean, look at the screensaver. It's going freaking crazy on this. It's got like horsepower for days. But the thing with the Synchro is that it doesn't like when it's in combination with the booster, it doesn't like the CPU clock that it gets off the PDS slot. So Zigzag Joe helped me. He's like, take a fly wire, solder to this thing, stick it to that, cut these things, and it'll work. And it worked. So the machine has just been rock solid stable for the past 3 days, just running its little heart out. And it's on Global Talk too. If you go to my zone, you'll see the Pumpkintosh there. It's not really doing much. It's just there. And you can say, oh, it works. But yeah, so that's probably going to be the majority of my participation in Global Talk this year, mostly from time requirements and stuff like that. So, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see all the prints come out and the files left on my shares and all of that stuff. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
That's the stuff I like.
Yeah. So let's talk about some other projects or other things that are going on in our worlds that are not Marchintosh related.
Okay,
Um,
sure.
I'm processing data. Lots of stuff going on in Joe Land, as you can tell by the pause as I refresh from cache there. I am working on lots of little behind the scenes projects, as usually happens with me. Sorry, I just got a news alert. I'm going to turn my phone over so I don't make myself angry. So lots of new peripheral cards for the Apple II and the Macintosh are kind of in the works for me. I've worked on some of these projects over the past 6 months or so, and they didn't really proceed, mostly because of cost or time restraints in relation to assembly. The one thing I wanted to get out and go on for everybody was we don't need another hero. Yes, okay, now everybody's making the Thunderdome references.
Hold on. Can't we just get beyond Thunderdome?
Yeah,
I at this point in the game, come on.
Yes. Well, let's move past it. Yes. The accelerator card. I had the accelerator card from HKZ. Wonderful guy in Italy who does Apple II and Macintosh hacking and runs a vineyard at the same time. It's the coolest thing ever. Designed from him for an accelerator for the Mac Plus, basically. It's the same as the later accelerators for like the LC and the SE and stuff like that, but redesigned to work on the Plus. And I would like to be able to produce those. The problem is it requires lots of expensive and time-consuming hand soldering for each board because the sockets, you can only get them from one source now in the world. And which means I can't like source them and get them to the robots to install them to keep it cost effective. So I'm not sure if I'm going to produce those. But other things that are going on, tons of other things. I'm working on trying to get the what is that thing called? The Diamond Track Star done. I've got most of that design. No, about half. I've got about half of that redesigned to use surface mount components instead of through hole. The through hole design being this big thing with all of those chips, which you can imagine would take hours to solder. And robots don't really do the through hole stuff anymore like that. So with it all being surface mount, the robots can do robots. Yes, they can do surface mount. And then it'll be robots. I help maybe. And it will be able to be cost effective at that point. When we were designing it for complete through hole, the cost, my cost per unit was like $700, and ain't nobody gonna want to buy that. Yeah. So if I can get it under like $2, then it enters the realm of people being able to afford to play with that. I received news on Friday that a card I'm designing, and by I'm designing meaning I'm commissioning somebody who's way smarter at the electronic signals than me. A card being designed by JCM, we'll put it that way, for the Apple II GS breached a major hurdle. So that means, in theory, we will have this card available, hopefully in the next month or two. Androda of Tech by Androda is the person doing the electrical engineering work on that for me, and they've been insanely busy with the launch of Blue SCSI Ultra, so that's why that's taken forever to happen. I mean, I do not blame them at all. Sure. And there's another thing I was working on that I cannot remember what it is, but I'm sure it'll come up eventually. But lots of little things like that. Oh yeah, there's going to be an update of the wonderful A2 Pico. That's going to be coming out relatively soon. There's going to be a internal flash option for the Apple IIc coming out soon. That's in progress. So I have several vendors like that who've contacted me. They're like, "Hey Joe, can I do thing?" And I'm like, I will ship your thing if you make the thing." And that's where we're going. So more cool things to keep old computers working, going out in the world. That's what makes Joe happy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Ron, your
Yes.
world. What's happening in your world that's not Marcintosh related right now? Not much, or a
I
whole
mean,
lot.
it's I don't know. It's mostly I've got a few things that are just kind of stuff that I need to take care of and things like
Yeah.
that. And it's everybody's got the normal work stuff that keeps them busy. But um, I'm reading a couple of books and all of that. And so it's actually I'm reading a book right now that is I read Ken Williams's book last year, which
Mhm.
is I think Not All Fairy Tales Have Happy Endings. It's kind of about the Sierra Online and kind of
Mhm.
like the way the company, kind of like this meteoric sort of rise, and then kind of with the market and the internet and everything changed, and you know
Mhm.
so, and it's part of it is kind of a story of him saying, yeah, I could have managed this better, and part of it is a story of the ills of venture capital.
Mhm.
So, and how that money is very much it's very enticing, but you will very quickly lose track of, the things that, made you successful, or the things that you want to maybe hold on to. So,
Right.
it's an interesting book. It's, I would say it is all over the damn place in terms of narrative, because there's lots of times where he'll just be telling a story and it'll be sequential, and then he's got these stories that really what they should have been is collected things that didn't fit in with the rest of the narrative. Just tell your story, just keep going straight through, and then at the end, if you want to have some other little things that didn't fit in, you make that like an appendix or something. But the book, it has like 3 epilogues. So it's it's like it's, yeah, what it really needed was it needed another editor, or needed somebody that would tell Ken Williams no.
Oh
And
no.
sometimes that is it's a passion project book and things like that, and I'm sure people have been up his butt for years to write it. So it is
Yeah.
very entertaining, and it is from his point of view, how it all went down. And then there is another book that came out a couple of years ago as well, that is the Sierra story, or kind of the story of Sierra Online, which is written
Mhm.
by an author that just decided to interview people and talk to employees and people that were kind of behind the scenes and stuff. And it is very interesting, having read the Ken Williams book, to now read this other book
Mhm.
and be like, wait a minute, I can see where as with most things, the truth lies in the middle. And so
Mhm.
you can hear it from Ken's point of view, and then you can hear it from the point of view of the people that, a lot of them like lost jobs, or had like some, not axes to grind, but certainly had like some strong opinions about the way things were managed. So
Mhm.
it's just been interesting. Outside of that, just doing tech support for the community and trying to help people with projects and
Sure.
all
Sure.
of that, and supporting other people. And that's kind of just what's been going on for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like fun.
I read and I read
Um,
and I read.
you read book reports by Ron.
Yeah, actually, and I will tell you this: if you're somebody that I don't have a ton of time to read, so, but there are some things that just exist as like dead trees, so those things I absolutely have to read. But I do a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And Apple, on their Apple Books, it's literally just called Apple Books.
Mhm.
That's their brand, or their label inside their little app store for books. That they have dozens and dozens of pieces of public domain classic literature kind of
Mhm.
stuff, that are all well narrated. And so I've been able to catch up and do a lot of those too. So
That's awesome.
it's,
I
yeah.
like it. I should do that more often. Like listen to books while I'm chilling after work instead of
Mhm.
watching YouTube and being dumb. But
Yeah. Ahoy, hoy.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Jack. Yes, thank you for stopping by.
Since she's here, did you watch? Veronica was on a stream last week with our good friend Bob. I say our good friend Bob. I just feel like if I met Bob in real life from Retro RGB, that we would instantly be best friends.
Yes.
In not a single white female kind of way, but I think we'd get on pretty good because he seems like kind of just a real person. So, but last week, Veronica does what Veronica always does, is explains like basically how he could make the move from like Windows as a daily driver to Linux as a daily driver. So it's you can definitely go and watch the stream. I think it's 2 hours. So but it was a lot of fun, and it was especially fun to watch Veronica because Bob's a sharp guy. He's really, really nice, but Veronica is a saint. So it was the perfect combination of I can't 100% see your screen, and the delay of a chat, and so trying to basically say, hey, like you tried this thing, but what about this, or type this, or whatever. And Bob being Bob, it was very much like kind of like, hey, I haven't done this in a while, and I feel kind of embarrassed about saying it, but like Veronica, as she always is, was very gracious and was just like, oh no, it's no problem, just type this in, it's fine, and now it's in your toolbox for next time.
In your noodle. Yes.
So, it was a lot of fun. Go watch it, put it on your bookmark at some point.
Veronica's in, and it's freaking awesome. I demand that you do it. And if you give her any grief for being her, I will yell at you. Joe will be angry at you.
Not as big of a fan of Riverdale. I don't think that's Veronica's best work, but it's okay.
Wait, hold on. Is this the same Veronica we're talking about?
I mean, her friend Betty and her, they had that show for a while. So yeah.
Somebody just sent. Somebody's watching the stream.
Oh no. I'm thinking it's a bomb. I didn't see a gut on there, but
oh no. But yeah. I recently tried to make a switch to Linux as my daily driver. I tried that in December. And I ran into issues that were not necessarily a Linux problem, but were more of I have things to get done and don't have time to figure out the way Linux does it. So I ended up staying on Windows, unfortunately, for my daily driver. But I do technical support, remote technical support of Windows machines that use very specific tools that are just not Linux friendly. Yeah. So it's difficult for me to make that switch. But I did figure out one of those tools. It only took me 8 hours over 2 days of struggling, but I did figure out one of those tools and have a process for that now. So maybe I'll be able to wipe and reinstall and go to Linux soon. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think the big thing that holds me back on that is that I too have a lot of software dependencies on things. Yeah. And so it makes it tough to kind of make the move over to that. But on a long enough timeline, I'm switching. I'll buy a Mac or or something like that, and so then I'm switching to Unix.
Yeah, switching to Unix. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I would love to daily drive a Mac, but I can't. It's in this case, it's not Linux where there's certain hurdles that can be overcome, and I just need to overcome them. On the Mac, there are certain these tools that I use for the day job that are nobody has to switch to Linux unless they want to. Yes, and I want to. I really do.
No one has to switch to Linux unless the CIO mandates it.
Yes, there you go. But like the one of my remote access tools literally does not work on Macintosh. Like it doesn't. They don't make a client for it. The software does not exist. So I would have to run weird chains of emulation to be able to tech support my clients. And
well, honestly, that's kind of one of those things where it's like in my day-to-day job, I could switch to a Mac tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. The whole thing is, if I need to do one of those things, there are 4 million Windows boxes out there. I can just remote desktop into that thing and then do whatever that next thing is. So for me, it's less important, but you do, it is tough, and I get it, especially from an IT support point of view, that if you don't have the tools that you need to do whatever the thing is, or if your clients are mostly in one ecosystem, yeah, it probably makes sense that you keep sharpest on the thing that covers your naked ass with money.
Yes. Ryan's mentioning the app. He's asking Atera. Yes, I do use the tool called Atera for my client management system, and it's not Atera that's the problem. It's the remote access tool that Atera uses to gain access to the customer computers, and using their remote, I'll just call it a remote desktop tool. It's specific to the Atera tool, and it getting that to work on the Mac is way more complex, at least the last time I looked at it, than getting it to work on Linux. And Linux took me 8 hours to figure out, mostly because I am not a smart man. But I use that on Mac. It's just Splashtop. Great. You and I will have to discuss on how that actually functions, and how many of the interesting copy and paste functions don't work correctly because the feature is not there. And how, like on Linux, I had to work around it using bash scripts and stuff and things like that. So yeah, now, there are other tools that are just easier to do on Windows. I have to do a lot of Exchange, Entra ID management and stuff like that from PowerShell. And on Windows, it's just there. On Linux, you got to install it. On the Mac OS, hey, Control Reset, it's Fahey. Hey, Sean, how you doing?
Hey, Sean.
On Mac OS, does PowerShell exist for Mac OS? You could probably compile it from source and make it work. I don't know. I just but at the end of the day, I got stuff to get done, and making my workstation, my tool to do the work so that it can do my work is not one of the things I have time to do. That's just how it is. I don't want to fight the tool. The hammer needs to be a hammer.
Yeah. If
I pick up this hammer and it's a 1978 Volvo, and I've got to reform it to be a hammer to do my job, that's just how it is. That's just how it is.
Well, I will tell you this right now. I talked to our friend Steve from New Jersey, and I was asking him about your remote desktop solution that you use for your client support. And I was like, would you ever recommend using it? And he goes, no, it's Atera.
It's Atera. Yes. Modern PowerShell for macOS. And again, yeah, that's but PowerShell for Mac sounds like sadness. It's sadness for Windows, but that's fine. Yeah, this whole thing, I could have like a VM or something set up, or a Windows or a Docker or whatever you want to call it to use to do those things. But it's like extra layers and stuff, and it's Anyway, it's fine. Stuff. I forgot what we were talking about.
We were just talking about work and everything else going on outside of Marchitosh, and you were talking about your support stuff. So
okay. What other projects? Hi, Eric. Hi, Jack. SpectraGen. That's another project I want to get back to. I've been kind of sidelined on that because I've been busy dealing with other stuff, part of which is my whole SpectraGen corner over there had to get ripped apart because of the radiation. Radon abatement. I had to move it out of the way, and
I'll be right back, John.
I had to get that entire corner ripped apart because they had to drill holes in my floor and all of that stuff. But I think I've used their RMM on Crossover. Let me know if you want to touch base, Joe. Yeah, maybe. Crossover is a potential way to do that as well. I ended up getting it working, Veronica. I was able to install the native Linux version of the RMM, and then combined with some hacking of the browser, so it would auto launch the remote access link. That was the hurdle number one. And hurdle number two is I have to log into a lot of infrastructure that doesn't allow you to copy and paste passwords into fields, because that's how Windows is. So you have to type the password. Well, the passwords are this long and full of non-typable control 0731 characters and stuff like that because security. So in that case, like I had to create a key binding that runs a bash script that like runs another tool that pastes it or that types it into the field and just it's stuff. So crossover may make the app run, but it's not necessarily going to fix that copy paste issue. So
Understood.
anyway, whatever. Spectrogen. So I was talking about Spectrogen. I want to get back on that a little bit. Haven't really done a lot with that, but a lot of cool updates happened about a month ago on that get us this close to be able to doing what I think is the holy grail on the Spectrogen, and that is a full backup and restore suite. I've got all of the different protocols documented for the steps of the process that are restorable over the remote system link. So I should be able to create a single script that then calls in these little subscripts, just scripting scripts, just a tool chain of tools, the way Linux says it, to be able to pull down an entire batch of a system and then push up another batch. And I had started working on that, but life in the shop and like 5 different clients all wanting like 10 computers replaced all at the same time happened and just stuff like that. But once that's done, that's going to be the cool thing. However, there are still several things about the system that are undocumented that I would love to be able to document, but I'm not sure how to do yet. Mostly because the features of the units are not present in my, well, I'm going to use present in scare quotes, are not present in my units. So you could get the units with certain sets of functions that were mutually exclusive functions. Like if you had one function enabled, a different function would be disabled. And I've got the one set of functions, the more average set, but some of these extra functions just do not exist in the system. And it makes me wonder how they did that. And through the reverse engineering of the code, it seems like they do it with a simple feature flag in the ROM, because a lot of the subroutines in these codes that are taking the data from the outside, when you read the subroutine, you can see it goes up into certain places in the lower part of the lower part of the memory up near 0, to say, does this equal this value? If does, then proceed. Well, why is it looking at that value? Well, it's a feature code. So it's like, maybe we can hack that feature code and enable these other features, and then we'll be able to reverse engineer that stuff. Who knows? Hopefully we'll be able to figure that out. But fun stuff abounds on doing the thing. So Joe, will Spectrogen may finish in time to be the emergency broadcast for the end of the world? I don't know if I can meet that deadline. I'm sorry, there, sir. It's closer than we think. But yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on in Joe land. It's just a lot of little projects. I'd like to get back to the Lisa. It's sitting over there. It has a RAM problem. I need to fix that.
I'm just waiting for Joe to actually leave the basement so that I can go through the portal that exists between his basement and mine and just take the Lisa to my house.
Yes.
The girl is mine.
Yeah. Like when the sun burns out. Yes. The other thing, Pico IDE is coming up soon. I'm going to be one of the official resellers of Pico IDE after the crowd supply campaign ends, which ends here in like 4 days. The issue that I have with the expansion of my operations and stuff, as you can see, is like, hi, space. What is it? This room's full and that room over there is full. And I've been wanting to find a way to like expand my physical space for more stuff so I can have more things here that people can make and get into the world. But there's no like we can't really build a building on the back of the house, and that doesn't because it'd be expensive and it will look ugly.
I mean,
And
not with that attitude, but yeah.
yeah, no. Real estate around here is crap, and the people want like $1 million for a 1,000-foot suite, and it's like, what the f are you smoking? Like, I'm in a tiny town 45 minutes from civilization, and it's a town which technically should be civilization to put it into perspective, and people just want to, they just want too much money. But I've talked with my better half, and we have a screened-in porch on the back of the house that is about 12, maybe 10 feet by 20 feet. That in theory we could take off, enclose, and then put heating, cooling, and electricity out there, and there would be physically more space there, and that would kind of make sense. It'd be like creating a sunroom or something on the back of the house type of thing.
Yeah.
Which would be a potential way to expand space. But the other thing I want to do is I have a lot of stuff that I don't play with anymore, and I just have to figure out a way to get it to people who want to play with it. The Lisa is not one of them. I'm sorry, no. I have a Molar Mac. Would you like the Molar Mac? No, I will take the Apple III. No, I have one each of different types of Apple III that I need for testing and diagnosing.
Here's what I will take. I'll take an invite over when the rest of the gang is going to be there.
Yes, there you go. Sounds great. But yeah, so
sounds dismissive to me, but that's fine too.
Yes. So in theory, Steve and Tom might be here in the next couple weeks, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So come on by. In the middle of the beginning of school after spring break comes off, and you're going to be busy. So yeah, it'll be fun.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Oh man. Yeah. Anything else? What else is going on? I don't know. When I can come to your country again and drive down, I'll pop over some tea and a Molar Mac. Yes, I will make the tea cloyingly sweet, so you'll need to put the molar in your mouth. The tooth. Dune reference. Ooh, there's something else I wanted to show. Our friend Francois has made this cool little thing. Anybody know what this is? No, it's not Boba Fett. It is the little end cap for the Macintosh Portable. Yep. And he's designed it with the little spring clips that don't break when you pop it in. They actually, well, it's being grumpy. There we go. And they actually like stick and don't break. So that's really good.
It's part of the clutch mechanism.
Yeah. So it Magneto's helmet. There you go. So and they're nice and springy and they don't break, and he did a really good job on that design. So if I can get my 3D printer to print them a little bit nicer, they still print a little rough around the edges. You can kind of see it's like kind of grumpy on the top and stuff there. But if I can get that to print better, then I'll be able to put those out on the website for people to get. And if you have a printer, if you go to Francois's GitHub, which I don't remember what it is it MMU man?
Mumayman. Mumayman.
See if I can find his thing. I'm having problems finding his GitHub, but he has a GitHub page where he shares all this stuff. He's been doing a lot of stuff for a lot of little designs for our friend Zodium out in California too. Zodium just got back from VCF. Did he go to South SoCal? Was it VCF SoCal he went to?
Yeah, because that was in February. Yeah,
or just VCF West. But he went to VCF SoCal and took his cube. And the cube had a lot of little like lighting effects that Francois helped him design. A little thing that the cube sits down on that lights up the acrylic around the cube. So yeah. I feel Joe's space pain. Yes, you would, wouldn't you, sir? Yes. So Chris's Mac cube is amazing. Yes, it is. It is fun stuff. But if anybody knows a way to build a building for less than $15,000 and have it not look like it's a cow barn, that would be great. That would be awesome. I would appreciate to talk to you, because that would be a thing. Now, I would also appreciate you come over and talk to my better half and tell him, hey, it's okay. It's okay to let Joe and put the building on the back of the house. It's okay. That ain't gonna happen. That won't happen. But yeah, can you do a prefabbed outbuilding? I looked into that. They're garbage. The prefabbed outbuildings that I can get my hands on are absolute. Like a stiff breeze will come by and just blow the building over. No. And in addition, with the problem with the prefabbed outbuilding is that with where my property sits, it would be nearly impossible to get the prefab up the back alley and into the property to set it down. Like there's no space.
It still would be entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
they would have to like take a sawzall to it and cut it into 4 quarters and then put it back together. And no, that's not gonna happen. So yeah. Yep, a doodle. Cool. I hear Steve knows some good shed builders. Yes.
Well, he knows some shed builders. But...
I don't think the shed builders were the problem. I think it's what was sitting under the shed that's the issue. But anyway, and yeah, that's Steve did the same thing that you're talking about there, Ryan, as far as getting a prefabbed building, and it will not physically fit up the alley. The size of building I would want to get it in. Crane it in. No, because the crane won't fit up the alley either. You would have to park it in front of the house and crane it 80 feet way over the huge front yard I have, over the house, and then way past to the back, and the crane would tip over and destroy the house. Like, you're not going to crane it in.
Wait a minute. Amazon drone delivery.
Yeah.
There you go. They'll just...
It's like 10,000 drones. Up and over the house. No, you don't understand. No. The front of the house is only 10 feet tall. The back of the house is 25 feet tall. Like,
the solution is simple.
And then craning it below the level of the crane, because the house is on a hill. And the back of the house is 2 stories high, and the front of the house is 1 story high.
The solution is simple, and that's just to move. So
yeah, we thought about that too.
That is
just to get a bigger house.
Yeah, that's what
my
everybody
parents
does.
Have a huge house, and they're looking at downsizing. It's registered as 2,600 feet or something like 2,300 square feet or something like that, because the basement was unfinished. But the basement is like semi-finished now, so it's effectively 5,600 square feet. It's gigantic. But they live more in the middle of nowhere than I do, so that's not going to happen. Oh, we pick up the house and put another level in. Yeah, okay. So it is what it is. But really, I just need to reduce my collection to some degree of a lot of the machines I'm not using, so I can have space for more inventory is how that works. So anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like this has been just dig down another level. Yeah, closer to the radon, Eric. Closer to the radiation. Yes, let's do it. Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it. Well, Joe, have you gotten anything cool recently?
Anything? No.
I got something cool.
I want you to show off your cool stuff, Ron.
Okay, this has been a lot of
the safe for work cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's I'll show the not safe for work cool stuff. This show isn't a prude show. It's on after Watershed in most of the Eastern Hemisphere. But anyway, I have been on a project where I have been collecting LucasArts, yes, Ron After Dark. That is all about the After Dark software. So, but I have been collecting LucasArts games, big box LucasArts games, for a couple of years now, off and on. But I got kind of serious about it recently because there was a temporary depression in the market that made it to where you could pick up some of those things fairly inexpensively. And so I was able to get some of the titles that I had been waiting and hadn't been able to get previously. Well, now we are now experiencing the natural uptick again in things, but
like my radon.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate that that things are like that they are. But what you do is this: is you reform and you figure out what you're going to do, and sometimes you manage expectations. And one of those expectation management things was, especially for some of the earlier titles that they released, that they had expansions for and things like that. They were very kind. They partnered with the software Toolworks to make compilations, especially on CD. So there is a game. One of the big things that LucasArts did in the early days were simulator sort of things, especially things centering around World War II. They made what is it? Their Finest Hour, which is a World War II flight sim thing. There's also another. Gosh, what the heck is it called? It's a Battlehawks 1912. I don't know. It's like a World War I kind of thing. I can't remember, but yeah. But anyway, Software Toolworks, really nice of them. They made these compilations where you can basically get the base game and all of the expansions in one box, which is really nice because those expansions, some of them are really tough to get. So you have, this is the original game that came out. Again, you can see that there's a little bit of a difference there. This is the compilation release that came out later. This game is tough to get tough to get complete because this is back in the days where this is the manual. It's a ring-bound manual to tell you everything you need to know, because there's literally tons of history in here all about the Second World War and things like that. And it's all very based on military reality. I am not necessarily into this, but I think it's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I'm sure you could ask your dad more about it. He's the one that watches 900 hours a week of the History Channel. So, but what I have been able to do is, and this is the part that I'm very proud and excited about. These are the individual expansions for this game. Some of these are easier to get than others. I would say that probably, I would probably say the easiest one to get, you'll see this everywhere, P-38 Lightning. This is basically, it adds some new planes to the game and some missions that you can go on. So if you remember, they kind of did this with Star Wars stuff too. So you've got like X-Wing came out, and then they had expansions. So they had Y-Wing and they had B-Wing, and they had you could buy this other stuff. There would be, hey, there's different ships and there's new missions and things like that. So they did the exact same thing with the secret weapons of the as people like to say, the Stroopwafel. But this one's the easy one to find. This one is slightly less easy to find, but it's still out there. P-80 Shooting Star. This is another plane and some other stuff. And these are the great ones. These are the ones that are tough to find that thankfully I did some horse trading and was able to get. This one is the DO-335, and then also the HE-162. These are the German planes that you can basically expand and play. These are the Allies planes. So, but yeah, this was kind of fun getting all these together. The tough to find ones are in little bags so that I don't make them any messier than they already are. But no, this has been a lot of fun picking all that stuff up, and then being able to put it on a shelf and be like, it's all here. I also, the game that I was talking about a minute ago that came out earlier, that's called, oh no, these are all DOS games. On their Finest Hour, they have one expansion that came out that was I think issued by US Gold internationally, and it's called On Their Finest Missions. I recently picked up a copy of that from a seller in the UK, and that should be here anytime. So yeah, so I'm getting really close. So what I'm going to say is this: if anybody out there has a copy of Labyrinth for the like Atari, or I'm sorry, for the Apple II, or the disc-based version for the Commodore, is interested in selling, please let me know. That's basically the last thing I need. That's one of the earliest games that was released. That's a David Fox game that kind of came out back then. So, but yeah, it's the last thing I need.
Yeah.
Need.
I have a cracked, non-functioning copy of Labyrinth as a disk image. Will that work?
I mean, yeah, send it over, but it is not the same.
No, I get it.
Not the same.
Awesome. That sounds great, Ron. And that's just more to add to your colorful collection you have back there in the upper left of your screen there.
Yeah, just all kinds of that's all my LucasArts junk. I keep all my Sierra stuff at work.
Yep. Pretty stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen your collection change and update over the past 5 years or so, and it's just become really nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. Cool beans. Well, we're kind of coming up on an hour, and it's just you and me tonight. So I think we should now, I don't know, maybe kind of wrap things up this evening. I wanted to real quick just come back around, remind everybody, Marchintosh, it's happening. Use the hashtag, go to marchintosh.com. Participate in however way you want to participate with those old classic Macs and have fun. Share it with your friends if you can, and that's it on that. Thank you everybody tonight for stopping by and watching us wax idiotic or patriotic or nostalgic or whatever you want to call it. Wax our nether regions, whatever was ended up being waxed tonight. About old computers, and we do appreciate that. We know that you got your choices of different things to do on a Sunday evening, and there are many other more boring things you could be doing. So thank you for stopping by. I'm Joe Stroh-Snyder of Joe's Computer Museum. You can find me at jcm-1.com. I'm not on OBS, so I can't press my special button to make the URL show up there, but it's jcm-1.com. You can find ways to follow me on social media and stuff like that. You can find me on Global Talk if you're out there. Just look for Joe's Computer Museum on Global Talk and drop me some greets or some prints to my printer this month. That would be super cool. And Ron, where can people find you, sir?
You can find Joe there. And you can find me.
He's typing. Oh, no.
Hold on. I'm so close. We're so close. We almost got the hackers. So ronscompvids.com. That's basically everything that's kind of going on. It links to all my stuff, and you should go and see what's happening. But if you something that has come to my attention that people are not doing or are doing is, I guess they go to YouTube and don't go to their subscriptions. And I know that YouTube has been always trying to screw that up, but people go to the recommended for you. That's fine, but I never have any luck with that. So if you're interested to see what I've got going on or what's happening, definitely subscribe to my channel, and then hopefully you'll then be told what I'm doing.
Do it,
which is a lot in March.
Yes. Tons of stuff. Ron is going to have so many videos. It's going to be like the weekend where your grandma made spaghetti and had leftovers, and you had spaghetti for a week.
Spaghetti.
It's going to be so much spaghetti. But, good.
I would prefer to think that it is like when Marge got that Chanel suit at the outlet mall and kept like disassembling the suit and reassembling it into different styles. So it's a quality thing. It's just being presented different ways. So don't be like the catty women of Springfield, and instead watch and enjoy, I guess.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by tonight. Remember, like, subscribe, and do all the YouTube stuff on the channel. And we will see you all next again in a couple weeks and throughout Marchintosh. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Bye.